Hello, everybody. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Adrienne Hall, and I work here in the Education Abroad office. Y'all are here for the UA in London Forensic Psychology, and Jenny is going to get us started in just a minute. Just wanted to remind everybody that this is going to be recorded, and we will take any questions you might have in the chat, or you can pop on at any time. All right, Jenny, it's your turn.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. So like Adrienne said, my name is Dr. Jenni Cox. I'm an associate professor in the psychology department, and I am hoping to lead a group of students to do a course in London, focusing on forensic psychology or psychology in the legal system next May. So I'm going to talk to you, I'll chat with you for a couple minutes today, let you know what the course is about, what I'm thinking, some logistics, and then we'll open it up for questions. There we go. So just a little background on who I am. I'm an associate professor in clinical psychology, and my research focuses on the intersection of psychology and the legal system. So I do how people who are involved in the legal system make decisions. I look at psychopathology and psychopathic personality. I look at the experiences of marginalized groups within the criminal justice system, particularly people from the LGBTQ community and what their experiences are like within the criminal justice system. I'm also a licensed clinical psychologist. So not part of my job here at UA, although I do supervise as clinical psychologist as part of my job here, but I do forensic evaluations for the courts, for prosecutors and defense attorneys when they have a psycho-legal question about a defendant. They can call me, and I can do an evaluation on the defendant, kind of let the court know what I think. I also want to put this in here because I recognize we are all people outside of our school, outside of our jobs, even though that might be a huge part of our lives, and I'm sure it's a huge part of your life right now. So I have lots of facets that make me who I am. One of probably the most important is that I'm addicted to pita chips, and I'm a mediocre Hamilton rapper. My 8-year-old can out-rap me in Hamilton any day of the week. And I have lots and lots of interests besides psychology and the legal system, although those are, definitely way up there. Okay, so what will this course look like? So this course has 3 main objectives. And so what I want to do with this course is help the students gain an understanding of how the fields of psychology and the legal system interact, how psychology informs the legal system, legal decision making, and how psychology informs public policy. And also the disconnect between these two fields. And although psychology has a lot to offer the legal system, we're not always welcomed with open arms, and vice versa. I want us to understand or learn about how the US legal system is unique and how it kind of started out very similar to the English criminal justice system, because the people who were building the political structure of our country and the criminal justice system of our country back at its founding were generally from England, or from at least that part of the world. And so a good portion of our systems started that way. But there's been some really interesting things that have happened in our country that have made our criminal justice system unique. And then I want us to get a better understanding of how mental health and psychopathology plays into the criminal justice system. So how does the criminal justice system deal with people who have severe mental illness? And what does this mean on the individual as well as the systemic level? So we'll talk about like the history of criminality. We'll talk about cultural factors that influence legal decision-making. We'll talk about psychosis and violence, malingering, so faking psychopathology to get out of being in trouble. And as part of all of this, you can, I originally designed this as a class that would fulfill 377, Psych 377, which is a forensic psych class. But I've worked with the Study Abroad office, and they've given us permission to also allow students to receive to allow them to receive 481 credit instead of 377. So if you've already taken 377 or plan to take it in the spring, you can take this course as a 481 credit instead. And it would be the material and the evaluation would all be similar. Okay, So the idea is to have it run from May 1st to May 20th. So it's about 3 weeks. It'll be the May semester. It's 3 credits. We'll spend 3 mornings a week in the classroom. So there'll be a classroom in London where we go and meet as a group. And then you'll have your afternoons free. And you will mostly have your weekends free, although we're going to have, we'll have some time where we're together on the weekends. 2 days a week. So we'll be in the classroom 3 mornings with a free afternoon, and then 2 days a week, we're going to be on excursions or tours. So we'll be going to the Tower of London, which was a prison for a long period of time. We'll look at the London Police Museum. We'll go to Freud's house. We'll go to Old Bailey, which is where the English criminal Supreme Court sits. And we'll also do some fun tours like the Jack the Ripper murder tour. We'll walk around and look at where some of Jack the Ripper's victims were found. We'll go to a prison, and we'll also go to Bethlehem Royal Hospital, which was a psychiatric hospital. It's now a university medical center, but it used to be a very notorious psychiatric hospital. And we'll also do kind of more London toury things like Westminster Abbey. I don't really think that Westminster Abbey really fits in with the forensic psych, but if you're going to go to London, do Westminster Abbey, right? In terms of costs, we're estimating, and let me emphasize that this is an estimate of about $5,000 to $6,000 plus airfare and food, which, working with the Study Abroad office, we've estimated to be about another $2,000. This is going to include your UA credits. It'll include a welcome and a goodbye dinner, so there'll be a little bit of food included. It'll include your ground transportation, tour entrances, any tips that are part of the program. The gratuities there, that's the word I'm looking for. It's going to include lodging in classroom space. So we have these apartments reserved that are in Zone 1 of London, which is the central part of London. And kind of depending on what our breakdown looks like in terms of the genders of the students who are involved, you could be placed with, you could be in an apartment of 2 people, or you could be in an apartment of 8 people, a much larger apartment, right? But of 8 people. So we'll figure that out kind of as we get the logistics figured out. I'm not going to be the person to answer any of these questions when it comes to financial aid, but the Study Abroad office has a number of scholarships and different financial aid options, and they are pros and can talk to you about how to apply your financial aid or how to apply for specific scholarships. We're also partnering with an outside company to help us plan and run this, and that outside company also has some scholarships. It's not a ton of money, but every little bit helps. And so if that is something that you're interested in, once we get going, I can get you that information so you could apply for those scholarships. So one thing that I'm getting questions about, obviously, is COVID. And I don't know either. I don't know what's going to happen, but I promise to be transparent with you. And the Study Abroad office is also committed to being transparent with students and parents and everybody involved. We have worked out a timeline so that we will cancel a program before any financial obligations are required. So the idea being that we don't even want you to have to put down we don't want you to have to buy a plane ticket and then be out that $1,000 or $800 or whatever. So we will make sure that we cancel the program if it looks like that we're not going to be able to pull the program off. And in that case, I would love to run it in May 2022, and I am not ready to accept that COVID won't be over by then. So I will be in London May 2022 running this class if you would like to join me then. We hope that we hope to have a decision by December 15th. So we hope to know by December 15th whether or not we're going to be able to move forward. That date isn't arbitrary. Most of the beginnings of the deposits and the financial pieces will come in January 1. So we're hoping to know before the end of this semester, or at the end of this semester next year, or this year, at the end of this semester. Okay, I'm actually probably going to kick it over to Adrian at this point, but there's a general application that's available through the Study Abroad office. The application that's specific for this program isn't going to be available quite yet, but our plan is to, if you apply to the general application, it will then get moved over into the application for this program. And then we will review applications and make notifications, hopefully in November is my plan. And Adrian can definitely speak more to any questions about the application process that you might have. All right, so that's all I got for you. And I'm really interested to hear about questions or concerns. This is just the easy.
Any questions?
Any questions? I did this, I gave this presentation a couple weeks ago. Oh, I see there's one. I gave this presentation a couple weeks ago, and I will say a question that came up that Study Abroad Office reminded me to say, and I didn't say in this presentation, if you are thinking that you want to go, even if you're not thinking you want to apply for this, but for this course necessarily, but if you're thinking you want to go abroad next summer and you have not only, and you don't have a passport, then we suggest applying for a passport ASAP because of COVID. Many of the passport offices have been closed down, and so it's taking a really long time for people to get passports. So if you don't have one yet, but you think you might want to go abroad next year, absolutely apply for one. And UA has a passport office, which the Study Abroad Office can help you find, because I've never been there. Is this okay, so the first question is this the only year that this program is open? So this is the first year that we're doing the program. I worked with the Study Abroad Office to design it last winter. And my hope is that it's something that we can do continually, if not every year, every other year. I think that will depend on the success of the program. If it looks like there are students that are going to want to go, then I'm more than happy to go and hang out in the UK for a couple weeks every summer. Is this open only to psych majors? No, so you don't have to be a psych major. You do have to have taken Psych 101 and passed it with a D+ or higher. So that's a prereq for Psych 377. So you don't have to be a psych major or a psych minor. You just have to have taken Psych 101 and passed it with I don't remember if it's a D+ or D-, but higher than a D. Any other questions?
Great questions, Madison and Sydney. So like she was saying with the general app, if you go to our website, I will show you how to do that. I think I'll show you how to do that. Go to our website and you can just go to that search button and type in general, and it'll pop up with this right here. And all you do is hit the apply now button and say, okay. And then you'll log in with your MyBama username and password. And you'll click Summer 2021. And then it'll pull up the application. And in this application, you can pick your choices. So it will ask you program selection. What's your first program that you're interested in? And you would pick UA in London. Forensic psychology, you would pick that as your first. And then if for some reason that program doesn't make, or for some reason the UK has strict policy about US coming, there's other options that you could pick for like a second option. And like Jenni said, we will move your application for you after the program is open. So you don't have to worry about doing anything except for putting in here that you want to be part of the UA in London program.
So a couple other questions have come up. The first, if we decide to change our major before next semester, can we take Psych 101 next semester? So I think that's fine as long as you take Psych 101 and pass it with the required grade. If you don't pass it with the required grade, or sign up for it and then withdraw, then you wouldn't be able to count your credits for this course. So that's why I think it would be fine to take it next semester. You just have to be really confident that you're not going to withdraw and that you're going to meet the required grade requirement. The other question was, when will the cost of the program be finalized? So that's a really great question. That actually, my understanding, and Adrian can jump in, but my understanding is that some of it's going to depend on how many students we can take. So actually, Adrian, should I let you talk about that? I'm going to let you talk about it.
Sorry, I'm at the front desk.
Please do.
Waving bye at somebody.
Oh.
But yes. So budgets are usually submitted to us in October, and we work on those during the month of October, and usually by the beginning of November, we'll have an estimate of the cost of the program, and the cost of the program will not change once we have the cost of the program posted online, and that will not change no matter if 8 people go or if 20 people go. It's the same cost. Nothing will change in that sense. And like she said, deposits, we ask for a $250 deposit, and that usually is due at the very end of December or the beginning of January. And that part will be refundable due to COVID reasons or anything like that. So don't worry about that deposit meaning anything. But we should know something by November, I would say, before you go home for Thanksgiving, for sure.
And a question that came up related to, a question that came up in the last session I did for psych majors was how many people were we planning on taking? So the goal would be to take between 10 and 16 this year. If we were taking up on if I take on the higher end of that, then I'll have a graduate student assistant coming with me to be another grown-up in the room, to be somebody else who can help just kind of manage the logistics of being in another country. If it's on the lower end, then it'll probably just be me as the faculty led. And I think that a lot of that's going to depend on the interest. You know, if I don't have a lot of interest, then I'm not going to force people, or not necessarily interest, but people who have the interest in it and means to go at this time. So we're just going to kind of see how it goes when it comes to the number of people that are interested in going. And please feel free to email me if you have any questions about the content of the program or anything related to what the course will look like or what we plan to do. If you have questions related to financial stuff, then absolutely direct it to the university, to the study abroad office. You can ask me, but I will probably just have you ask them. But please feel free to reach out with questions. I'm really excited about it, and I really hope that we're able to pull it off. I have my fingers crossed that COVID won't ruin this too. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you everyone for coming, and please reach out with questions. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday.